So now that you're managing teams yourself and you're
Yeah.
going out into the market and recruiting, talking and thinking specifically about women, particularly in tech,
Yeah.
what do you notice about applications of women for roles that you advertise? Do you get, what sort of the percentage split do you think?
I'm not even going to try and estimate a percentage because it's still very tiny. It's still very small. And that's the thing that is upsetting to me as a woman in tech. And it's a very hard thing to see that, we're not getting as many women applying as would like to. And where I am at Checker Trade, we're actually really keen on improving our diversity and improving our tech, and anything that we can do to try and promote or making our application process easier and better for women or diversity or returners to work, whatever it is we're trying to do at the moment. So we've got a lot of things in place where we're trying to actively improve our job descriptions and how we advertise, because I think a big factor of that, and I go to a lot of women in tech roundtables outside of work, so it's interesting to hear everyone's thoughts on why women don't apply to things. And one of the biggest topics that came up is the language that's used in job descriptions. So it's you don't even notice when you're writing a job description, or whoever's writing the job descriptions probably won't notice at the time, but it's some of the masculine words like leadership and, that kind of stuff that maybe throws a lot of women off. You need more of the feminine language, helping teams, not leading teams or whatever it is. That makes a woman want to apply. So it's about filtering a lot of that masculine language out of the job descriptions.
I think when you and I were talking about this before as well, I was mentioning to you that what I find is if I have a male and female candidate, both with the same CV, level on a par, often I find that the woman will spend the whole time highlighting the bits that she thinks are missing from her CV, so it's that sort of confidence piece.
And it's a huge thing. So it's a known fact that women won't apply to a job description unless they meet something like 90% of the criteria. And I think that's the difficult thing. It's again about that language, and you actually have to specify that, we still want to hear from you if maybe you don't meet all this criteria, rather than these are your key roles and responsibilities. We need you to have these. Like, women aren't going to apply if they're seeing we need you to have these, and they know they maybe, or they're criticizing themselves too much, and in their heads they think they don't have 90% of these skills. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the point is, if companies are trying to get more diversity in and get more women to apply, then they should be allowing for that more feminine language, and almost encouraging people to apply even if they're not meeting every single tick box.
I agree. Why do you think it is so important to have diverse teams? I mean, apart from the obvious that diverse place, but in terms of actually a creative space and people in the team, what do you think is so important about it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me, the biggest thing is culture add. Like, a lot of companies go on about culture fit and creating this one type of culture. But I truly believe if you want a high functioning team, and you actually want to have a team where everyone brings something different. So when hiring people and trying to create more diversity, you should be looking for culture add, seeing what that person can add to your company, to your team. If we were just hiring the same type of people, the same type of culture, the same type of values and whatever else, then you're not going to get teams that bounce ideas off each other, that, work together in different ways, have different ways of working, that can suggest new ideas, because you're going to end up, if you're hiring for culture fit, just a group of people that are happy to work in the same way, that work individually and maybe not so much as a team as well.
Yeah,
So for me, culture add is huge.
And it's also as much about the challenge of views as it is about the collaboration of views. You know, it's good to sort of have that in a team. I totally agree with you. So one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you, and this will be sort of my last question, I guess, is if you had one piece of advice to a woman looking to get into tech, what would it be? And by piece of advice, I mean, where should they start?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a particular language you think they should look at first? Do you think university over tech hubs? What's your best advice?
Yeah, I would say my best advice at the moment is figure out what it is in tech that you like doing. Like, I would say you definitely in this day and age don't have to go down the traditional route of going to university or anything like that, because there are so many boot camps out there that allow you to, you know, do a course for a few months and gain those qualifications and learn about coding. So if it's engineering you're looking to go into specifically, find out what you enjoy doing and start with one language first. It's always best to start with one language and build off the foundations of that. Once you can conquer the foundations of one specific language, then you can upskill yourself later on and learn many different languages. And that's the great thing about software engineering, is once you know the foundations, you can definitely context switch or, you know, start learning other languages a lot more easier. They all have, well, majority of them have the same kind of object-oriented principles. So once you get those foundations in place, that's it. Like, the world's your oyster. Try different things. When you get into tech, it's not just, you know, one size fits all. There are so many different roles. There's so many different variations of what you do. So the thing you find in tech is you can be, I don't know, a software engineer or an engineering manager, but your role is it could totally differ depending on what kind of company you're in. So you may get some companies where you're just constantly coding. There's, you know, you kind of get all of the decisions handed down to you. You're just literally doing the coding and the tickets, and that's it. Or you could get some companies which want to heavily involve the software engineers in their decisions, even as far as product-based decisions and what they're actually going to develop next. You get companies which want software engineers to actively define how they want to work, and, you know, maybe not using methodologies like Scrum as much, or whatever it is. So there's just such a variety of different roles that if you get into software engineering and you think, okay, well, you know what, I don't really like it here, it's not how I like working, then find a different role, because it's just, there's so much out there. You will find something you like.
And every company is different. So every product.
Every company.
You know, it can be all different.
I would even say going as far as, if you're in a big company, every team is different. So obviously I've been in 2 very big companies now, Rightmove and Checkatrade. And I can safely say that one of the biggest things that helped me at Rightmove especially was moving around to different teams. So I didn't start off, well, I started off software engineering in one team, but I had the opportunity to move around to maybe 5 different teams or so. And it's just the fact that you start to realize every team works differently. Even in one company, you can have teams using different languages and different frameworks and doing different sprint ceremonies. So it's about just finding the right place, the right people, the right team that suits you. And, you know, you're never going to have a problem with that in tech, because there's just so much out there anyway.
I think people forget that, actually. It's really cool, because they think, well, you know, I want to move and develop, but actually there's loads of development to be had internally as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, so much. Yeah. And a lot of the time you just need supportive managers who understand what it is you're feeling at the moment. And I think people should feel empowered to tell their managers that, you know what, I think I've had my stint here now, I'm really excelling in the team. What can I do now that doesn't involve moving company? And then it should be down to the manager to explore those opportunities and say, well, actually, we've got this underperforming team, or this team that uses different technologies that maybe you could help with, or you could, upskill in. And that's how people progress their careers for so long in the same company, is you need good managers there to be able to support the engineers.
Yeah, it's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've loved this.
That's okay. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. It's been really lovely.
Listen, I'm super impressed. I think everything you said is absolutely on point. And I think the important thing is that if people are sitting there thinking maybe this could be for me, then boot camps are really easily accessible, and you can dip your toe in the water, and you can you can decide if it's for you or not.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not even the boot camps. Even before that, there are so many free resources online, like free Code Camp, Code Academy, that you can just, go on and just try out a bit of coding. Try it for yourself. And most of them now, all of the courses and the free resources online, they are very practical as well. So you're literally reading and trying as you go along. And if it's something you enjoy doing, if you enjoy the problem solving, the coding, whatever else it is, then that's when you say,
that's what it is.
That's
the bit that I think is really cool about it.
Yeah.
That, people think of it as words on a screen to some level, because that's the kind of thing, is it? But it's about solving a problem, and it's very cool. I'll make sure that when I post this, I will put the links to a couple of free courses as well.
That would be amazing.
Thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm sure I will come back to you and ask you to do another one at some point, maybe come around table with us.
Sounds
thank
great.
you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks so much for inviting me as well.